Picture this. It's the year 1817. You find yourself in the quiet and quaint town of Adams, Tennessee. Life is peaceful for John Bell and his family. But as the days pass, strange occurrences begin to shake their home and their lives. I was hoping you guys would enjoy a little break from the usual terrifying slashers and creepypastas. Imagine waking up in the dead of night, not to the gentle caress of morning light, but to the insistent tapping of footsteps in your attic. This becomes the nightly ritual for John Bell and his family. The rhythmic thud of footsteps echoes above them, growing louder, more menacing with each passing night. She describes the ghastly specter that has become a fixture in her dreams, tormenting her every night. One afternoon, the ghost made itself known to John Bell directly. The apparition stood in front of him, contorted into a mocking grin, and uttered a chilling threat. "Beware, John Bell," it hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "Your daughter will die." There's even an annual Bell Witch Festival held in her honor, and hey, if you're still watching after all this, you must be a real fan of horror. So why not check out our other spine-chilling tales? Until next time, stay safe and keep your wits about you. You never know when a ghostly apparition might appear. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content, and leave a comment down below with your suggestions for topics that we should cover in the future. Complete with a reenactment of the haunting and a costume contest. Yes, you heard me right. People actually celebrate this ghastly specter. True to its word, Betsy passed away a few days later, and the ghost's presence grew even more malevolent after her death. It continued to mock the Bells, laughing hysterically and shaking the house with violent force. At times, the ghost even levitated, floating through the house like a malevolent balloon. The family became prisoners in their own home, too afraid to leave because they never knew what they would return to. As the haunting progresses, the ghost's presence becomes more aggressive. It physically attacks Betsy, leaving bruises and scars in its wake. Enter the infamous Bell Witch. Legend has it that the witch was the spirit of an old woman named Kate Batts, back in the early 19th century. Kate lived in a cabin near the Bells' property. But she wasn't your typical hermit. No, sir. Kate was known for brewing potent whiskey and moonshine, and she was rumored to dabble in witchcraft. When Kate passed away, her spirit is said to have become enraged, causing her ghost to roam the countryside in search of revenge. The ghost also taunts her, whispering foul and profane language in a distorted voice. Despite the family's attempts to fight back, be it through prayer or holy water, the ghost remains persistent and powerful. The climax comes when Betsy falls gravely ill. Her life hangs in the balance as the ghost grows stronger, feeding off her fear and pain. As the weeks go by, these nocturnal performances escalate. Furniture begins to move on its own, shaking the very foundation of their home. And while the Bell Witch may not be a slasher or even a human at all, well, the answer might lie in a bit of bad blood between Kate and John Bell's father. You see, back in the day, there was a bitter feud brewing between two families in Adams, Tennessee, the Bells and the Batts. And wouldn't you know it, Kate Batts was related to one of those feuding families. In fact, she was the sister of a man named Richard Bates, who had been in a bit of a legal tussle with John Bell Sr. over some property disputes. And Richard was pretty hot about it. So much so that he was even charged with threatening to kill John Bell. Now, it seems that Richard didn't really follow through on his threats. But when he passed away in 1811, things took a weird turn. His widow, Lucy, suddenly found herself possessed with a whole lot of animosity towards the Bells. She started spreading all sorts of nasty rumors about them, claiming they were responsible for her husband's untimely demise. Who knows whether there was any truth to these claims, or if it was all just a case of crazy conspiracy theories. But one thing's for sure, Lucy's rants didn't do much to ease the tension between the two families. In fact, they only made things worse. You could say that she kept the feud alive and well even after her husband's death. But what does all of this have to do with the Bell Witch? Well, some folks believe that Richard and Lucy's bad vibes towards the Bells may have rubbed off on Kate, leading her to target the Bell family in the afterlife. You could say that the feud followed Kate even after she passed away, manifesting itself as the Bell Witch to seek revenge on the Bells, of course. This is all just speculation. We'll never know for sure what led to the Bell Witch haunting the Bells. But one thing's for sure, the ghost was relentless. I think you'll agree it's just as scary. knocking sounds, shaking beds and chairs, disembodied voices whispering in the dead of night. These events are not merely isolated incidents, they're terrifyingly consistent. Something sinister is at play, something dark and malevolent. The family is being haunted by an evil entity known as the Bell Witch. I don't know if I can handle this. But for now, let us step back in time and explore the unsettling tale of the Bell family and the hauntings they endured. One fateful night, as John Bell peacefully dozes, he is abruptly awakened by the sensation of icy fingers digging into his flesh. He sits up in bed, heart pounding, only to see his wife cowered in the corner, eyes wide with terror. She describes how she was brushing her teeth when the apparition materialized in the room. A gaunt, ghastly figure with a face that seemed stretched and distorted like a mask. She had brushed aside the ghastly specter, only to find it standing over her, contorted into a horrifying grin. Before she could react, it vanished into thin air. As the story goes, the ghost soon set its sights on another member of the Bell family, Betsy, John's young daughter. Picture this. You're a young girl living in the early 19th century. Your nights are filled with the sound of ghostly footsteps and chilling laughter. Then the nightmares begin. Every night you dream of a ghastly old woman with a face so decayed that it resembles nothing more than a pumpkin. She beckons to you, trying to pull you towards her. But before you can scream, you wake up, drenched in sweat, the specter looming over you. This becomes your nightly torment, until one day the nightmare spills into your waking hours. Betsy is violently shaking, unable to speak coherently. As Betsy lay dying, the ghost grew bolder. It began to roam the house during the day, shaking beds and rattling windows. And who was this ghastly specter haunting the Bell family? Why did she single out the Bell family? Now, despite the terrifying nature of the haunting, the Bell Witch has become a local legend in Adams, Tennessee. So what do you think? Have you ever experienced anything paranormal? Share your spooky stories below.